Hey everybody, I'm back. So, continuing to work on this Demon Hunter project. Um, so what I've done since stopping the stream, I just created a block, tried to go down the center line of the model as I have it so far, and essentially, excuse me, basically if you look here, let me hide this again. I used that just as a reference point to cut the model in half, basically. So I have remaining the left shoulder, or sorry, right shoulder, I guess, because it's turned around. The right bicep, right forearm, the right weapon, leg, knee, shin, and foot. I left the hips intact, the stomach intact, the back intact, chest and face and horns, right? And the hair. So, what I'm going to do now is go ahead and name these. So let me rename these real fast. And I typically just do like R underscore for right. Makes it quick to rename. So the R is going to represent the right side. And I will show you in a minute when I go through all this hassle. I think it pays off long run. After my first couple models that I did as either just one big piece or just a mirrored, you know, like both sides mirrored and then trying to modify one side. This just pays off, I think. So underscore. All right. So I've got everything named. I have a hierarchy set up already for shoulders, bicep, forearms, and hands. I could even do the weapons down at the base of the hands. So let's do that. Let me rename that one too. All right. So now, if I go up to the shoulder level, I can simply do duplicate. And it actually duplicates from the parent all the way down if you do it that way. So if I go down here, you see I have the exact same child or parent-child relationship. But what you don't see is like, notice how that kind of sparkles there. Blow it up here. So what that's indicating to me is there's overlap, right? So it duplicated them, but they're all on the same, same side. So what I wouldn't try to do is click, like point and click here, because you could accidentally select, say, the right side. What I want to do is flip what I just duplicated to the left side. So I will use the scene graph here, and we can start at the top typically, and I'm just going to flip that. And you can see, okay, that's the shoulder. So let's do that real fast. So I'm going to clear, just put left shoulder, and I'm just going to move down the list. So again, flip, aim, okay, got the bicep, flip, aim, what are we on, forearm, okay, I guess that's weapon, but it doesn't highlight there. Oh, actually, that was the hand. So let's do that one. Rename. I wonder if I didn't have that nested. I'm gonna have to check that in a second, but we can fix it if it's not right. So we're gonna do left hand, and finally flip, and we have the left weapon. So I'm just gonna double check and make sure I didn't make any mistakes there. So we have the left weapon. I'm looking for everything to highlight on this side. We have the left hand, the forearm, the bicep, the shoulder. let's go back up here because I don't remember seeing the hands. I guess it's there. Smooth the weapon. Yeah, it's there. Okay. So I've got the entire right side from the shoulder down, as well as now an independent left side, which is really cool, and I'll show you why in a second. Alright, so now let's go and find the right thigh on down. So again, if you create your child-parent relationship, it makes this stuff like super easy. So again, we're going to duplicate with the parent selected, and then we're going to go find where it duplicated. Typically it's at the bottom of your layer list, and now we're just going to flip and do your renames as you go. It makes it easier. So thigh, and flip and do the knee. Alright, and just that easy. Let me turn off this line tool so that's not distracting. And just that easy, so now we have a complete left side and right side for both the legs and the arms. So why did we go through all that trouble? So let me save this real fast. So I'm going to save this as my pose, and I'm typically going to just have the basic pose. I'm going to save that, and it's really nice to have it set up this way, not mirrored for your start. And I actually probably should have saved the mirror as one, but I can go back and do that again. So just by merging these back together, I could essentially recreate that save file if I wanted it. So now what can I do with this? So I'm going to do one more save as, and I'm going to call this, let's call this test pose 1. So the person that asked me to do this didn't give me a whole lot of direction yet. When we got up to talk briefly, they at least got me some pictures of their character, which was cool. So I just kind of want to play around with this. I'm going to think about, 3D printing. Some of the things that I always keep in mind with the 3D printing is the supports. So if you watch any of my other videos, I've talked about this, but we'll go over it again. So supports are what print to support things like these weapons here. If I printed this just as it is, it would need supports for the weapons because it can't print over open space. Most of the rest of this model, if I print it exactly like this, would not need to be supported because it would start at the feet, work its way up, and by the time it got up to the waist, it could just print across here and then keep on moving. Honestly, the weapons are sort of touching here, but they would still need supports to look good. But the rest of this will probably print just fine because once the weapons have started, the arms would just print up from the weapons and eventually merge back into the body, and we'd be fine. But who wants to have just a static demon hunter? I mean, we could do a lot better than that. So I am going to think about, as I move the various body parts here in a second, I'm always going to be thinking about that support issue, because wherever supports contact the model, they can kind of mess up the the smoothness of the model. They might cause a few defects, and most of those you can clean up, but sometimes the print doesn't go so well, and it's kind of a pain to clean up. So I'm just going to keep that in mind. Other things that I think it's the FDM printers do not like, let's say we did the weapon just like this, like a sharp point facing straight down, even this elbow, well, not so much this elbow because it's at an angle at least, but if it's a complete point like this, like my Deadpool model, that's kind of a pain with the printer because it starts at this itty bitty point and it'll, put a little dot and then it moves on and it prints the next and the next. I've had these little points like this, they just break off. They don't stay connected, and then eventually it'll probably catch again and then it's fine. So if you can avoid like points that are pointed straight down like this, it can save you a lot of headaches with that. A simple angle change, like something like this. Well, let's keep an eye on this weapon here. But check this out. That simple angle change, it would do so much better because we have this slight angle instead of having the actual point pointing face down. And the reason that is, I think, is because the printer will have to kind of do an oval shape. And I think it just gives it a little more contact on that support, and it typically locks it in, and I just don't have problems. So when I did spawn, if you noticed, I had the weapons kind of off at an angle like this. And you might be like, maybe you thought to yourself, why is this fist in that direction? Well, it was intentional because the print was able to print just nice and smooth. And I even got the points, if you've seen that model, I got the points, I got the blade edges and everything just for making that subtle change. And maybe it's not exactly what you wanted when if you were just thinking about sculpting it. I mean, it's not exactly what you wanted. But minor changes like that can make such a difference when you get to the 3D printing stage. It's just worth it because who wants to have, some of my prints, like the large spawn was like 90 hours. Who wants to get, halfway through a 90-hour print and then have something like the weapon blades just completely warped and messed up? I don't. So to me, it's worth it. If I'm doing work for someone else, it's kind of hard to tell them, I hate to tell you, but if we did this, this, and this, it would be better. But most of the time they're understanding, and hopefully in the end it pays off. So that's something I wanted to bring up just because it's something I've run into several times. These printers, for whatever reason, they don't like points that are straight up or straight down. But you can achieve some stellar results. Like if we left it just like this would look amazing because it has that slight, I think, oval, just enough surface area to create that nice even point at the end. And I've had some beautiful results from that. And if you do enough like outer layers, even if your point gets messed up, you can sand it back to a point. So that's another trick. I always do at least 3 layers on the outside, typically more, sometimes 4 or 5. Outer shell layers, and what that means is if the model's hollow, it would have some thickness on all the way around this weapon. So by the time it gets to the point, it's pretty much solid plastic. And then that gives you a little leeway. Let's say it was solid plastic to the edge of this red square. Then you could, sand some of that down if you needed to. All right, well, I'm going to stop rambling and show you why I broke up this model this way. So you probably already guessed it if you've seen me work before. We can now do some posing and just play around. And I didn't put a lot of detail into this because I wanted, I don't have a real good idea what I'm going to do yet. I did go out and get some reference ideas. And again, looking at these, I was thinking about the 3D print. So I had an idea, like, this is a female character, and I've always, I don't know why, I kind of like this glance over the shoulder look. I thought that might be cool, have her expression be, like some smirk or something like that, might be fun. The person did tell me they want the wings included. Now that's going to present a whole another set of challenges because they're thin, they have a lot of points. So I was trying to think through what are my options with that. I thought this pose could work really well for that because I could fold the wings. So I got an example of the wings folded, and I was thinking something like this, right? Then I'm not dealing with the thinness of the wing. I can do some really cool details, and you can see right there, I can have some, claws on it, and that could really work, and it would print well. Um, but if, let's say, the wings were out, that's gonna be just that's gonna be tough when I get to the printing stage. This one might be doable. So again, notice the blades are kind of in this curved format, so that's gonna not take a lot of support, especially if it's that close to the print bed. Same with the calf here. See how everything is kind of angled. That's going to work really well because it'll just have some supports there, and then from pretty much there on would be good. Likely it would need to support some of this upper wing structure, so that could cause some issues maybe. But I'd much rather deal with having the wings straight up like this and put some curvature to them and have it print more upright. It's going to do better, I think, than if they were just spread out flat. And it's surely going to take less support material. If the wings were out to the side like this, it would have to print support material all the way up to the wing, across the entire wing. So I think if the wing is this way, plus it's this way, I mean, that's tons of support material. So there's the other things I take into consideration is, how much material is it going to take to do the print. And that's ultimately going to either cost the customer more or save them money, right? If they're okay paying the money, you can give it a shot. But again, that could be exponentially more print material if you did the wings spread out like that, where this, it'd be a lot less. So, all right, let's play around with some poses. I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream. I think this was some good information just directly about printing and some of the things I think about before I even start modeling now. This is my probably fifth or sixth project, and it's always been in the back of my mind, but I'm printing nearly every single day, and I'm just learning every day, and these are just things I've had to figure out on my own. So I'm hoping they're helpful, and I kind of want to just have this segment so that I can link to this and let a few people know that they've had questions. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream, fire up a new one, and then I'm going to get going on some poses. We'll put some music on. You guys can just watch. I'll probably do a little talking at the beginning, and then just play around with some poses. Maybe we'll knock out one or two tonight and just kind of get an idea what looks cool, what doesn't, and have some fun with it. So I'll be right back.